She has over 20 years of experience working for nonprofits prior to entering her higher education, and she's a multifaceted professional who brings a unique perspective to her work. Her diverse background and dedication to social responsibility are reflected in her belief in the power of education and community engagement as catalysts for positive change. She's also going to do a super, super exciting job for you guys. So let's be excited for her and get on our feet for Dr. Heidi.
Thank you very much. All right, how we doing, guys?
Good, how are you?
Excellent, I'm doing great. So I want to take you guys on a little journey with me as I tell my story. So if all of you can just take a second and think back to sometime in your childhood when you had that sort of like that passion, that dream. You know when your parents always say to you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And kind of think back to that moment and think about, gee, what were some of those things that went through your head? And for me, it was two things. One, dogs. I have no idea. My obsession with dogs. Two, tennis. And anybody who gets to know me will know I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. And so I chose the route of tennis because that is what my mother said I could do. No dogs in the house. Very sad. So I did everything you could possibly do to pursue tennis. I took lessons. I taught classes so I could see it from a different perspective. I played for the USTA. I played on the tennis team. I broke my ankle right before tryouts in high school. Had a cast on. I showed up at practice with my cast on. Coach says, what do you think you're doing? And I said, I'm going to try out. And he goes, yeah, on the bench. And so I stayed, though, every single day for every single practice. And finally, I went back to the doctor and I said, okay, take it off. I need to play. And I got right back out there and I started playing again. I got 3 scholarships to play in college. I thought my dreams had come true at the age of 17. I was like, I've made it. This is it. This is fabulous. But guess what? I busted my shoulder, I didn't play tennis, and I became a little lost. Became a little bitter, I became a little angry. And I said, what am I going to do now? At the age of 17, I thought my life was over. Like, can you guys think back to when you were that age and just that dream kind of being, that thing you thought you were going to do your whole life? Not really thinking like, oh my gosh, I still have probably another 80 years to go here and I can probably figure out something to do. But I was just crushed, absolutely crushed. And so then I said, all right, well, my second dream, what was that? Dogs. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to become a veterinarian. Not really sure where the leap of love for dogs equated to becoming a veterinarian, but that was a very quick and short journey out to Oklahoma. And let's just say the city girl did not do well there. The seeds and the weeds all looked the same, and I did not want to castrate the piglets. So I went back to Boston, and feeling still a little lost, love and support from my family all this time. And then they said, I think it's time to get a job. And I was like, oh, all right. And so that became my journey into nonprofits. I did not wake up one day saying, I'm going to be philanthropic. I really have this calling to do great work in the world. I just got a job, guys. I got a job. And my parents were happy I was working. And one thing you're going to figure out here very quickly is I've done a lot of different things, and they don't really make a whole lot of sense, but they made sense to me at the time. And this was right about the time that Web 1.0 was born. So we can date ourselves here a little bit. And I decided to get into website design. And I thought, that's going to be it. That's the skyrocket. I'm going to take that to the moon. I'm going to be a web designer. Yeah, I'm not a web designer either now. Didn't happen. Nope. And so I continued along my path, working in the nonprofit field, continued to go to school, did find my passion in being in education, just never thought I'd be on the side of teaching it or ever on a stage because I had immense stage fright. I was an introvert. I was like, if I talk to any other human being, I might throw up in the trash barrel. So, continue my journey. And as I start to work with more and more nonprofits and having a pretty decent career, moving things along. I moved into the healthcare sector, worked there for about 9 years. During that time, I hit immense burnout. I don't know, has any of you guys ever hit burnout? Yeah. What did it feel like? Yeah, but seriously, like, what did it feel like? What did it manifest to? Yes. For 1 year, I was in and out of the hospital, physically sick, could not hold down my job. I had to take medical leave from working at the hospital because I was that burnt out. But no one could recognize it. No one could label it. I had my gallbladder removed. I had everything under the sun done to me, but nobody could label it as burnout. And until I could actually say those words and say it was anxiety, I couldn't begin to heal. And that's when I had made my decision. It was time to leave the nonprofit world, leave my job in the medical field, which was shocking to everybody around me because I was on an upward trajectory, great career growth. Everyone's like, they thought I had really lost it. They're like, she's leaving something that's amazing, a great path to go on to. And I said, well, this is going to be a great path too. I'm moving over to higher education. I went into higher ed, and I've been there for the last 13 years. Love higher ed, love working with my students, love seeing those aha moments that they get. But there was definitely still something missing in my life. So during my time in burnout, everyone said to me, you gotta get a hobby. And I said, working's not a hobby? And they're like, no. And then they said, go try yoga. I tried that. Laying on the floor, my brain is going 1,000 miles a minute. I could not center myself enough. I lasted 2 days in yoga, and that was the end of yoga. And so people kept giving me idea after idea after idea. Nothing worked for me. And then my husband said to me, do you want to get a dog? And I was like, really? Like the little kid in me came out. I was like, finally, after 20-something years, I can get a dog? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, can it be a pug? And he's like, sure, as long as it's not a poodle. I was like, okay, nothing against poodles, but. And so we went out and we got our pug and brought her home. And I tell you, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It opened up a whole new world. And when I say I do things intensely, I do them pretty intensely. We got into dog sports. Oh boy. I spent pretty much every weekend learning everything I could about dog agility, how to train my dog, how to do canine rehabilitation because my dog got injured just like any other professional sports player, so she would get laser and acupuncture and underwater treadmill work. And she and I had the greatest time together, the greatest journey together. I would say she became part of my soul. She knew how I felt, I knew how she felt. We became a team, a unison. In 2019, my daughter was born. And greatest day of my life. But I also vowed at that time that I was going to continue my career. Some people agreed with me, some people disagreed with me. They thought I should be a stay-at-home mom, they thought I should be more present. Definitely shouldn't be flying off anywhere and speaking on stages, I should be home. But I said I can do both. With a good support system, I can do both. And so we had one problem though in the house. My daughter was terrified of my dog. My dog was terrified of my daughter. Took 2 years to fix that, but we worked through it. We worked through it. They have a nice, great relationship. And it was during this time that also the pandemic began. I think we all remember that, getting locked into our houses. How many of you went to, when you were locked in for a couple of years? I'm coming from Massachusetts, guys, so we were locked in for a couple of years. I know other states got out earlier. Yeah, I know other places, it was 2 years. So we had a lot of time for reflection, thought, looking inside ourselves. And I said to myself, there's something seriously missing in my life. From everybody looking from the outside in, thought I had it all together. They always said, how do you handle it all? How do you handle being a mother? How do you handle taking care of your household? How do you handle doing all these things? And I said, there's still something missing. And they said, but what could it possibly be? You have a child, you have a dog, you have a beautiful home. And I said, purpose. I was missing purpose. And I felt like when I moved into higher education, I became quiet. I had lost my voice. I had settled. I said, this is easy. I'm here. I come in. I teach my classes. I go home, take care of my household. And I just did that day in and day out for 13 years. And I said, okay, but what do I want to do? That's the big question. A lot of us are probably still even asking ourselves this. So after that period of time, I said, I'm going to kind of step more outside the classroom. I have a lot of knowledge to share with people, and I think I want to go do that. But what is that going to look like? And so I started Dr. Heidi Enterprises. Guys, I had no idea what I was doing. I started a podcast. I started a Facebook group. I did all of these things because everyone said this is what you should be doing. And I was listening to everybody but myself. And then all of a sudden I said, I still don't know what we're doing. And then one of the people in my group said to me, she goes, we're like the unnichables. And I was like, I like it. I'm thinking like superhero. There's a cape on us. We're flying away. We're the unnichables. This sounded great. We can do everything and anything. Well, you know what that led to? Chaos, unclarity, people not really having any idea what their roles were working with me. We were doing things okay. The things that we were rolling out were okay, but who wants to be okay in anything, right? And we weren't making great strides anywhere. And so then I started asking myself, and with the help of some great mentors, they said, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? I'm sure some of you may have heard that before, right? And I said, mine is helping nonprofits. And they said, well, why aren't you doing that? Well, great question. I had no answer. And I said, I guess that's what I should be doing. And so all of a sudden we started to niche down on this. And I realized I had so much market research. For 13 years, I was teaching in the Masters of Nonprofit program at Northeastern. I helped build it to the Masters program. I had students coming in that were running nonprofit organizations. And for 13 years, I heard their struggles, their pains. I sat on boards. I sat on the foundation boards reviewing grants. I heard the issues that they were facing. And a lot of them in the business sector did not have the funding to support their infrastructure. Nobody wanted to give them funding to help with their business needs. Programs and services, no problem. Helping and having impact, no problem. But build a website? Build a social media presence? No, we're not funding any of that. Build our finances? Work on our budgets? No, we're not funding any of that. And so that's when I made the decision, and I talked to my team, and they all jumped right on board, and we decided we're going in for it. We are going to niche down. We're going to focus in on the things that we love, and we're going to work with social ventures and nonprofits who are out there doing good in the world to help them grow greater impact. And the minute we did that, within 3 weeks, we signed 20 new clients. And the power of leaning into something, which is the message that we've all been listening to here over the last day and a half, is so powerful. And getting clarity on what you're doing. So I want you guys to all do me a favor right now. I want you to write down on a piece of paper what your niche is. When you have it written down, go ahead and stand up. If you're not clear on what your niche is and you're struggling, stay seated. It can either be personal or it can be business. Who would like to share?
There's trouble. You're asking what my niche is. Functional body work. Functional body work's really narrowed down. It's like, it's massage therapy, stretch therapy, and all these other different modalities plugged into I move the body the way it needs to grow function.
So would the average person who doesn't know what that is understand this?
No.
So is there a way maybe you can say that in a way that everyone understands?
Use more words?
No, simplify your niche in such a way that it's understandable.
Oh, I guess that's kind of the idea. It went from clinical massage therapy, stretch therapy, trigger point, and all these other things down to functional body work. And I think body work is more of a modern term. It's very new. Functional means it's kind of like body work is the modern version of massage. But functional body work is a lot less of lotions and oils and back rubs, meaning a lot more movement therapy, hands-on movement therapy. It's really hard to niche down even more into function.
So I don't think maybe we'll move away from the term niche, but just moving more into the use of language.
Sure.
And making it in a way, because like if I were walking in off the street and I saw that, I would probably avoid it because I would have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
So how would we convey that to someone else so they completely understand what it is and feel comfortable with it?
In as few words as possible.
That would be the goal.
I would say stretch therapy, mobility, hands-on mobility.
Okay.
It's kind of an idea. I racked my brain for like the past month trying
Yeah.
to narrow it down to functional body work.
No,
So
and that's
it is-
great. It's great. But
it's
that's,
a-
I think, something we have to remember is that, you know, we can target our ideal consumers, but are there going to be other consumers who may want to try something like that but have no idea what it is?
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to narrow it down even more?
No, you're good. You're good. Who else
It'll
wants to
take me
share?
another month at least.
Like half of us in here, when you say that, we understand what you're saying
Yeah.
because we kind of come from the same realm.
Yeah.
But just a general person who's not in the fitness industry, out of shape, they know that they need some help. They're gonna kind of be a little misunderstanding exactly what it is. You know,
Yeah. It's one of those difficult.
it's one of those things in today, like he's saying, in today's industry, functional body work, it's not just massage therapy. Some functional body work people, they do cupping, scraping, stretching, like a combination
Yeah.
of things. It's incredibly beneficial.
Yeah. Body work's like a new word because there's so many types of Reiki, all these other holistic measures. So body work is just like, all right, they're just kind of encompasses so many things. Functional is a lot more specific.
Anybody else want to share?
He's got the microphone.
And send it down.
It's good to have a fellow masshole here.
Love it, right?
I'm wicked psyched to hear you.
Go Red Sox.
Go Sox.
Yeah.
Well, they went. They're golfing.
I know, yeah, it's true. They're golfing at these points.
So I connect people in abundance and love. I run a happy hour and that kind of stuff. I do what Sam does, but I just do it in a different way. I just connect people in abundance and love and help them understand the abundance mindset, because traditionally Sam and I are competitors, right? Oh, we wouldn't like each other. We wouldn't be in the same room, right, or anything like that. If we went with the traditional competition at all, whatever cost, right? But Sam is an amazing guy, and he knows his shit just like I do. But he's going to connect with somebody different than I will, and I'll connect with somebody different than him. So I invite people that do the same stuff that I do to my events.
But what do you do?
So I get people connected and in a space of love so that they can receive whatever's going to happen. Receive the blessings that they have for them. Receive, whether it's friendship or counsel or business or whatever it is just, it's wicked awesome what happens.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wicked. Okay, I will have to do that. All right, I have time for one more, I think.
Oh, hi. You have time?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
I feel like I just left or came to an anonymous meeting. Okay. I help women heal. Oh, I'm sorry. Helping women over 40 heal God's vessel from the inside out.
Now, can you narrow that down even more?
So, I would say, when it comes to healing God's vessel from the inside out, first of all, God's vessel is your body, and we were asked to be good stewards of that, and some of us have not been. And so, healing from the inside out, it could be spiritual, it could be emotional, it could be physical health. So, if I'm helping them, one person might need it to be physical, where we're talking about your health, your exercise, your eating, whatever. Another person might be spiritual, where we're talking about what does the Bible say about being a good steward of God's body, of God's vessels.
That was a good job narrowing it down. Now we just need to find a streamlined way to say that.
See, I thought that was it. I'm like, if you ask more questions, that's good. I got you. Okay, helping women over 40. God bless you.
That's good, right, guys? It gives an age group. We kind of know what she's
Yeah.
focusing in on.
And it's primarily women for me, because I'm over 40, in case you didn't know. Way over 40. Healing God's vessel from the inside out. So is that what you're thinking I need to elaborate more on?
I would make those simpler terms so people understand exactly what to expect.
Healing your body from
Like,
the
do you do
inside
it
out.
through words, through physical exercise, through...
Yeah, like I said, it's critiqued for each person, so everybody's going to need to come at a different aspect. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Why not say that?
Okay. Like how? Say what? Okay, so healing from the inside out, for what? Healing your body for how it needs to be healed from the inside out? Or?
I would get the inside out part out of there. I would talk about, approaching each person as an individual and working through the struggles that you have.
Okay, I like that. You're good. Okay, thank you.
Simplifies it, right?
Yes, amen.
And just say, sometimes we make things a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, and sometimes we can just say it simply as it is.
Yeah.
Who's struggling finding their niche or really narrowing that down?
So that was my question. Were you trying to just narrow it down to the smallest amount of words?
No, it's more about your audience.
Mine does a lot of things that's more clear.
Mm-hmm.
Lifestyle coach.
Hello.
So I think when you talk about that, you have to pull apart each component piece and really look at that, because I'm a professor, so there's a totally different world going on there. My customer is completely different over there. The things that I do over there, I do research on women in leadership over there. Could I bring that into my consultancy world? I could. I don't particularly want to. If anybody wanted to talk about it, I can talk about it, but I'm happy with it in that space. And then I have, real estate investments that I do. I don't bring that. So I look at my different buckets all separately and make sure I'm niching down within that bucket.
Okay. And you mean to market kind of separately with these separate titles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that I can do.
There you go.
I had some people telling me, like, narrow it even more. And I'm like, there's too many hats. I can't narrow it down anymore.
And for us, it's any nonprofit or social venture that's doing good that we can help on the business side. So solely just the business side. We're not going to get into program services, evaluation, the business structure. And then from those particular areas, moving forward, how can we gain that sustainability for them, and then moving on to help somebody else. And it has to align with our values. So there's certain nonprofits that we won't work with that, just don't align with the values that we withhold. So those are the things that we look at. So who else is struggling? We have time for one more.
It just literally just came to me. Embracing your inner boss babe.
But what does that mean?
Embracing what makes, as a woman, your femininity, and you don't need a job to be a boss. You can be your own boss, or your own house, be your own queen. And so embracing that femininity, Spanish is my first language, okay? Just knowing who you are, what you meant to do as a woman, embracing those superpowers that God gave us, and just utilizing to your own advantage. Just like men, this is a man's world, but guess what? Who run the world? Girls. Beyonce said it. So I think it's always good to also, utilize as women our femininity and have it used in our business, in our homes, in the way we carry ourselves, the way we dress ourselves, the way we talk to people, the way we influence. So I would love to, and I invite you all to embrace your inner boss babe.
I like that. And I think it's just important where you're doing kind of like a movement to make sure you're really honing in on what within women, like what type of women that's going to resonate with full-heartedly, because it won't be women as a whole.
Yeah.
So, and I think, having that explanation is important.
Yes, that's it's trying to find that balance, because we also have guys who want to embrace their boss babes.
There you go.
And I don't mind, and that's why I want to create a world where, like I said, I'm starting a new movement called AZ Boss Babes. I encourage you to join, women, and so women. But the reason why I wanted to call it AZ Boss Babes is because it's not Arizona. It means A to Z. Anybody in between, you could be it, And just like we, as women, when it comes to our business, we embrace our masculinity as business women. Sometimes we forget that we are women, and why we are not using our femininity to our own advantage, So I think it's kind of cool when we see those women, come through. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So one last quick thing, if you can humor me. Take out a piece of paper from your notebook. And we're going to stay with the theme of leaning in, right? Being all in on everything that we're doing. So I want you guys, on a blank page, I want you to write down one action step that you guys are going to take when you leave here that's going to help you move forward to be all in. I want you to rip it out of your book, fold it up, and I want you to put it somewhere safe that you can take it out when you get home and look at it and remember what you are going to be doing. So one action step. Excellent. And I challenge everybody, when you go home, take these out, look at them, and make them happen. Thank you, guys.
Let's give it up for Dr. Heidi. I love it. I love the interaction.